行政長官質詢時間結束。現在舉行立法會例行會議。發言，石禮謙議員就政府帳目委員會第71號報告書向本會發言。石禮謙議員。
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of the Public Accounts Committee, I have the honor to table our report number 71 today. Out of the 10 chapters covered by the Director of Audit's report number 71, the committee has decided to focus on the 2 chapters relating to the work of the Center for Food Safety, CFS. Hearings to examine Chapter 1 on the work of CFS in management of food safety, and Chapter 2 on its import control of foods are held to examine these chapters in details. The committee's report table today covers our conclusions and recommendations on Chapter 1 only. In view of the number of issues raised in the other chapter, the committee has yet to defer a full report on it. I now report the conclusions and recommendations on the chapter on the management of food safety by CFS. The committee stresses that the public health and safety, food sold in Hong Kong must be safe and fit for consumption. The important gatekeeping task of keeping food safety in Hong Kong falls on the CFS under the Food and Environmental Hygiene Department. The Center for Food Safety would conduct population-based food consumption surveys for the purpose of collecting data on the types and amounts of food that people consume. For the first survey, conducted in March 2004, the committee expresses grave dismay and finds it unacceptable that the 42 months delay in this survey, while the progress of the survey was unsatisfactory in terms of the response rates and the long time taken to complete the fieldwork and data analysis work. There was no provisions in the contract to address such unsatisfactory performance. Apart from withholding payments and terminating the whole contract, the rights and interests of government was not sufficiently protected under the Food for Safety contract management. For the second population-based food consumption survey, which started in May 2017, the committee again expresses grave dismay and finds it again unacceptable that the Food for Center Safety have not learned a good lesson from the first survey, as evidenced by the slow progress review in the Director of Audit's report. Noting that the contractor has made improvement with closer monitoring by the CFS, the committee urges the CFS to continue its close monitoring of the progress of this survey currently still underway and the performance of the contractor. The committee expresses serious concern and finds it again unacceptable that as a large number of some 66,000 food samples were taken annually for food testing, CFS have not provided sufficient guidelines for its staff on some major procedures, including the sampling, the workflow, as well as the timing on announcing the food testing results. Furthermore, CFS has not effectively monitored the compliance of its staff with the available guidelines. For instance, more than 10% of the turnaround time of testing results in 2017 were more than 60 days, with the longest one being 230 days. There were cases of non-compliance with sampling requirements in the food surveillance program. The committee urges the CFS to review frequently the workflow of food surveillance, as well as the handling of food incidents and complaints in order to revise, update existing guidelines, and supplement new guidelines where necessary. The committee also suggests the use of information technology to record relevant information and generate management reports for better monitoring of staff compliance with guidelines. CFS is also urged to review whether its establishment and manpower and the available laboratory capacity for food testing are sufficient to ensure that they could deal with the increasing workload and urgent food incidents which required immediate attention and action. Now I turn to the other chapters, Mr. President. The committee have also studied the other 8 chapters by asking the relevant bureau and department to provide written replies to members' questions on how they address the inadequacies raised in the Director of Audit's report. We would like to take this opportunity to express our appreciation to those bureau and department in providing detailed replies to our questions. For the chapter on procurement of the operation equipment by the Hong Kong Police Force, the committee notes that there was an unspent balance of $404 million after the completion of 2 main contracts for the implementation of the 3rd-generation command and control communication system. In reply to the committee, the Hong Kong Police Force have explained its reason for charging the expenditure of subsequent extension and enhancement work of the system to the system project vote over a period of some 10 years after the system rollout. The committee considered this arrangement unsatisfactory, as the approval of the Electrical Finance Committee of the system was not a blanket approval, and the police force should have included sufficient information, such as whether a phased implementation was adopted or subsequent enhancement work would be included in the project scope in its paper to the Finance Committee. For the other chapter on Radio Television Hong Kong provision of program, the committee notes that the Radio Television Hong Kong and the Education Bureau are undertaking reviews on issues covered in this chapter, such as the nature and procedures of acquisition of television and radio program, and the cost-effectiveness of school education television. Pending the outcome of this review, the committee would further consider the need to take any further actions, such as public hearing, etc., on the chapter. Mr. President, in closing, I would particularly like to express our gratitude to David Sun, who retired from the post of Director of Audit in last December, for his unfailing support to the committee. I'm grateful for and look forward to the continued support of the staff of the Audit Commission to the committee under Mr. John Chu, the incumbent Director of Audit. I would like to record my appreciation of the contribution made by members of the committee and the Secretariat. Our gratitude also goes to the witness who attended the hearing. Thank you, Mr. President.
質詢，第一項質詢，何俊賢議員。
多謝主席。